Hey guys, so this is going to be a video about how to take apart and put back together an SV12. This would be like a V11 or V12 Dyson cordless vacuum cleaner. For those who are daring enough to try this, I'm going to walk you through how to take it apart completely so that you can wash and clean the Cyclone assembly and then put it all back together properly. So follow along if you like. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to remove your filter. You can rinse this out. Now if it's really dirty, I would recommend just replacing it, because inside of here is a HEPA pleated filter that's technically washable, quote, but once they get to a certain point, it's very difficult, especially since they're like encased inside of here. Very difficult to get those clean. So this filter here in this condition, it's really dark. I actually am going to recommend replacing the filter. So they actually had already, the customer had actually tried to rinse it out before. So now your next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your clear bin off. So you're going to do that. Some of them, well, this one's not doing that, but some of them will stop right here, and then you're going to click this button to pull it off completely. Okay, and you can rinse this and wash this. There's no wiring. You can kind of wash this as is. All right, so from here you're going to get your tools and start taking screws out. Now we're going to first take off the Cyclone assembly from the body here. So what you're going to see is 1, 2, 3, 4 holes here around this filter area, around your exhaust area, and then there's going to be 2 more screws here, right kind of near the handle, and here, one there. So we're going to take those screws out. And you're going to be using a number 1 Phillips head. Sorry, I meant to mention that at the beginning. Okay, so you should have 6 screws out, and you get your 6 screws out, and then you can just pull it. You're going to pull it that way. So, okay, and that separates. Now, I do have a video on how to take this motor assembly out. In this particular situation, what I'm going to do, the extent that I'm going to go to for cleaning this, is I'm going to use a compressed air, like air compressor, and I'm just going to blow this out with compressed air really good. So for the sake of the service and what I'm charging, I'm only going to be servicing this area here. I do have a video on how to replace the trigger, which actually entails me pulling this motor assembly out. So you can find that video and see how to pull this motor assembly out, but if you really wanted to go all the way with a full teardown. So you can locate that. I'll link that in the description. All right, so now that you have the Cyclone assembly out, we can begin taking this apart. And you're going to be using mostly T8 Torx bit. There's 1 screw here, and we can take that off and just take this little cover piece off, and we can wash that part. Next, we're going to go ahead and take off the 4 screws that are down here
underneath this area. So we're going to take those off.
Now this is going to pull off like that. Now you're going to notice a wire there, and I'm going to deal with that here in a couple minutes. So leave that there. Now the next step is we're going to remove the screws that are here up top, and they're going to be longer.
And I believe there's 3, but there's actually a couple underneath there as well.
Okay, now that we got our screws off, this is not going to come off until you work this little area here. So this area needs to kind of pop up. So you need just a small little flat blade screwdriver, and there's a little seam right here, and you want to, and then you can kind of work around that area. There. So you see how it kind of pops up? So once you can get it popped up, then you can pull it. Okay, now, so since because of that wire, this is all not going to slide off. But what it does is it does reveal some more screws for us. So here you have underneath, there's gonna be 4 more screws actually. So we're gonna remove those. If you can see them, they're covered in dirt or concrete dust or whatever it is.
And then also there's long screws. So just work your way around. And you're thinking, how did they put this together? We're gonna see that in a second.
Okay, so you got your 4 screws out. Now you're gonna see this lid is gonna come up. So this lid comes off, we're gonna wash that. This gasket connector comes off. This gasket can peel off. And then there's a gasket here. Be careful with these gaskets when you're pulling them off because they can tear pretty easily. But if you do want to remove these just so you can get this area nice and clean. So you see how gross it is? We're gonna get it all cleaned up. All right, now, so you've got these pieces kind of like just stuck together because of the wire. So the wire this will come out as well. You can just pull that out. So the wire is basically connecting that plug to here. All right, now what you can do is you can kind of push this back together and this back together so that you can pull out this section here. Now, what you can do from there is you can kind of tilt it like that so that it's, at like a 90-degree angle. And then what we can do is we're going to push this down, and then that plug starts to come up. See that? And then if you put it all back together, you will have enough slack to pull this up. And you want to pay attention the orientation here. Okay, so you have your white cable. This would be a good time to like snap a picture, but you have your white cable here on this end, and you have your black cable, and they are labeled. So, all right, so how you're going to open this is this like folds together and kind of is like a clamshell, and there's a clip right here on this side. So you can get a small flat screwdriver and you can just slightly pry the clip and it will start to open up like that. Okay, and then you have your wires that you can now just pull the wires off. And remember, you want to keep, if you get these crossed, your motor head's going to spin backwards. So now that you have the wires disconnected, everything comes apart, which is super, super nice to be able to take this apart with like this, so that you can clean it more thoroughly. All right, so I'm going to go get this in a vat of soapy water and wash these parts up real good, and I'll be back to show you how to put it all back together properly. All right, so real quick, I wanted to show you a little bit more detailed picture of what it looks like to take this plug apart. So when you get the unit all separated, you push this out. This gets pushed up out of here from the bottom, you know. So, and then you got to kind of have it, you know, close to here. I wasn't able to get a really good angle, so I wanted to show you a little bit more up close once I got it out, what it looks like to take apart. There's a small clip on the back side, and you can just take a small screwdriver and just push it in there and twist it slightly, and it will release the little door. So just push your screwdriver in there and twist it, give it just a very slight twist, and it will open up this little clamshell. And then you have your white cable here on the right, which is noted as the positive right here, the tip of my finger, and then you have the black cable on the left, noted as the negative. Okay, so you just want to keep that in mind. Keep in mind the orientation that this goes and sets down into. You know, it goes like this, where the clip is facing back. This back side, I'm pointing here as the back. So that's how you want to make sure it's back together. So, all right. So now that I've got a little bit more detailed, we're going to walk through putting it all back together. So, so you got all your pieces and your parts cleaned. So basically what we can do now is go in the reverse direction and put it all back together. So now I wanted to point out here, there's a gasket here. So if this fell out, then this is where it goes, kind of at the bottom of this piece here, and you can just make sure it's back in place. There's several gaskets. You know, you have these gaskets here, and you want to set them back in place. So now I pre-installed those filters for the camera, for the video. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to slide this, then this, and this all together, and we're going to feed the wire through all of this first. Okay, so so the first thing that you want to do is you can locate the little intake area here where the debris comes up and comes into the can, and you're going to find on this piece, you're going to find some notches, okay, some little channels, and so you're going to line those up with here and here. All right, so that's what you're looking for. So slide those together. So you want to line that up. That's your locator. That's what you're looking for. And you have to lift this up over to kind of get it started to slide. Now you don't want to slide this in all the way until it like clips and locks in, because remember, we've got to pull this off slightly to put in screws underneath here before we secure this one. So, but I want to do that for the purpose of getting the wire run through everything. So, and you might notice this is a little bit kind of misshapen. So once this gets put on here, it does take its shape back and seals up nicely. So don't be too worried about that. Now what you're going to do next is, you can see how these are going to go together. So this is going to go like that, and your wiring is going to be, let's see, it's going to go like that. So these are going to go in, and your wiring is going to slide through this hole here. Okay, you're going to slide that together like that, and just make sure you got it kind of lined up. And it should, yeah, there it goes. It pushes down, pushes in there nicely. So you've got your wires coming out here. And then the next thing you're going to do is slide your Cyclone top here, and like that. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our little wire holder clip thing, and we're going to put our wires back in. Remember, you got the white on the right, which is the positive, and the black is negative on the left. All right, so I've got them. I've got the wires in there now. So what we can do now is we can pull this off, and we're going to make sure this has got the clip to the back, and we're going to let this. We're going to pull the wire through and guide this down into place so it seats itself back in where it should be. And you might have to help it. There it goes. Okay, so looking at the bottom, you can see the wires are right back where they were. And then now what you can do is you can put it all back together. You can pull the slack from the bottom so you can get these pieces installed properly, like that. Now you can separate these two sections again. Okay, we're ready to start putting the top section on, and so you're going to grab these pieces here, so make sure you get your gasket, put back on in place here properly. If you look closely, the more indentation on the one side is going to indicate the bottom, like what that goes against this Cyclone part. Okay, but before you put that on there, you're going to slide this piece in place. There's one little way that it goes. You can see that there's these little hooks right here, and they're going to slide in right in this channel here. So it makes it kind of obvious to put it in the correct way. So slide that in place first. Then you're going to put your cover piece on here like that, and then you're going to put your top on. And it just slides in like that. Now, from there, we're going to get our long screws, and we're going to be installing 4 long screws in the locations where there are not already holes through this. So in other words, you can see where this one here, the long screws, there's 3 that are going to go through this, and there's 4 that are only going through this section. So okay, so follow along and you'll see how that goes. So
if you remember taking it apart, that's how it went. So I'm just doing it back reverse.
all right. So next what you're going to do is you're going to slide this back in place, and I talked about this before, but there is a locator spot here. It's probably going to be hard now that I have this wire connected. I'm not going to be able to show you the piece very easily, but there is a channel that's going to be sliding along here, and that's what you're going to look for to line this all up. And you usually have to lift this little edge up right here, and then you get it aligned, and it will slide on like that. And if you push firmly around this area, it'll pop in place. Okay, and you want to look here to make sure you got like a nice seam, a nice clean seam. So a little bit of damage there from the screwdriver and needing to pry that open, but not going to affect anything. All right, so then get your long screws, and you're going to put your 3 other ones in there. Okay, now you've got that connected. Here you're going to see this is what you're going to look for to line up with here, and you can see that's going to just close down like that, and then your holes will line up here, and then you've got your 4 screws to install these size. All right, so we're almost done. Got it all put back together and looking good. So now you're gonna be sliding this back in place. Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick, there's one more step. We're going to be installing our piece here. And you can see there's some holes, some through holes, where the screws that hold it in place here are going to be going through it. Okay, so that's going to rest there, and this screw is just basically a placeholder just to keep it in place. Okay, now what you're looking for is, see, this has a little lip on it here and here, and that's going to be sliding and kind of grabbing over this section here. So that's what you're looking for to line up initially when you're sliding it back together. Okay, and it slides together nice and smoothly. There might be a little bit of a gap, but when those screws go in, it'll close it up nicely. So then get your screws in the back, put back in. If you are daring enough to try this yourself, I hope this was helpful. That was the intent behind making this video and posting it. If it was helpful, please let me know in the comments, like it or subscribe. Also, I do appreciate, since I do this for a living, I do appreciate if it was valuable to the extent that it really saved you money. But then I appreciate, people thanking me in the form of a few bucks. So then you're going to slide this back in place like that, and put your filter back in, and you are good to go. So I hope this was helpful, and please let me know, or like and share, and have a great day.